is going on? Welcome to Home Built Workshop. Welcome to Wednesday Live, where you guessed it, we're going to hang out for a while, an hour or so, whatever, and talk shop, talk projects, talk really whatever you guys want to talk about. We'll answer questions, have a good time, always fun on the Wednesday Lives. So what are you guys up to this fine morning? I hope you guys are all doing awesome. It's been a little bit chilly here, but it's all right. We got some projects going, getting some things done this week, trying to wrap up a few kind of gift ideas, things like that. I am currently working on a little serving board thing. Just I put a coat of oil on this yesterday, but after I looked at it this morning, I realized I needed to do a little bit more sanding. So I was just wrapping up that. Kind of was tricky after already oiling it. Kept clogging up the sandpaper, but working on this right now. I just need to reapply the oil, and we're going to wrap this up, and I'm going to start doing the editing for the video on this little dude. Really a quick project. Not really, I guess, quick. I used epoxy on this one, so I had to wait, a day in between. But overall, really, there's not a whole lot to it. Just a really easy, good project that you can make stuff like this and knock them out and give them away as gifts, for the holidays or birthdays or whatever, and always seem to go over pretty well. So that's what I'm working on. Have a video for this little guy coming out in a couple of weeks. I want to know what you guys are working on. What kind of projects do you have in the works right now? Dastardly Dave's here. Dave says, "Sup all?" What's up, Dave? How are you doing? Brian's here. Brian says, "Hello, Jeff and everyone. I hope you are all well." We are doing well, my friend. Hope you are all doing the same. Epperson's here. What's up, man? Epperson says, "Good morning, Jeff." What's going on, man? Neptunes. What's up, buddy? Neptune says, "Hello, everyone." Hello, Neptunes. Brian says, "I was working in the garage a bit today. Did a bit of soldering." Cool. What are you soldering on? Patty says, "Hey Jeff, how's it going?" It's going good, man. How are you doing? Getting those miles in today? How's that new tractor working out? It looks pretty snazzy. I'd like to take it for a spin. Mike's here. Mike says, "Good morning. Still working on the window casing and trim out. Maple." Cool. Cool. Right on, guys. Brian says, "I'm wearing some speakers in the garage." Oh man, yeah, gotta have some tunes. That's kind of one thing that I kind of miss a little bit. I miss just cranking up the tunes and knocking some work out. I don't do that a ton out here. Although, I love music and love cranking it up and just getting some work done. I almost always have a camera rolling. Almost. Not quite, but almost every time I'm out here, it's because I'm working on a video project, and of course I can't have the tunes blasting in the background, or those copyright police step in. So I do miss just jamming some tunes while working. Once in a while, if I'm sanding a guitar and I'm going to be at it for hours, well, I don't need the camera running the whole time. Then I'll put on some tunes or maybe some podcasts or something like that. But yeah, gotta have tunes in the shop. Here's a question while we get into things. What do you guys typically listen to while you're working in the shop? Music? Do you listen to podcasts, audiobooks? What is it? That'll be a fun discussion to put down there. Oh, Paul Waldrop. What's up, man? Paul says, "Greetings, everyone." Neptune says, "Still trying to get that baby Yoda to 3D print in resin." Apparently, resin doesn't like Yoda. That's weird. It's not cooperating with you, huh? I did do some 3D printing over the last couple of days. I should have brought the pieces out here. I didn't even think about it. Working on some parts, some router templates for an upcoming project. Kind of another, maybe a gift idea, sort of, that I'm going to use some 3D printed parts to make some use them as router templates to make some little trinket dishes, little bowls or wooden bowls or whatever you want to call them. But that's going to be, I don't know, probably a few weeks out. Maybe it'll be out before Christmas. Kind of not very timely if it's out after. But anyway, it's going to be fun. Use some 3D printed stuff for that. So I got all the parts printed for that. And I have finally, I've had my 3D printer for about a year. I've never had to change the nozzle or anything other than leveling the bed for my printer. But I finally had to replace the nozzle. It got plugged up and I couldn't get it cleared out. So I would say that's pretty good. A year? I don't know. What do you guys think? Is a year a long time to use the same nozzle? Paul says, tunes to me are too distracting. Need to concentrate around those spinning blades of death. That is true. Yeah, if I'm doing cutting or something like that, it's loud anyway, so I wouldn't really have music on probably then. Usually if I'm doing some, I don't know, planning, maybe sketching or something like that, but probably mostly sanding. If I'm sanding, I'm just, that's the time for me that I'm going to put on some music. Patty says, on a tree job, big beech tree that's come down, other side of the city of Salisbury. We had Storm Bara come through yesterday, tractor bending in nicely. Nice. Was that a bad storm? I hope not. But if it took a tree down, it might have been. Hope everybody is okay. Mike says, listen to swearing. Well, I mean, Brian says, I switch between audiobooks and music with the occasional podcast. Yeah, I would say I'm probably with you. I do both. I have some podcasts I listen to, but sometimes you just gotta put on some music. And Paul says, use the force, Neptunes. Neptune says, I listen to YouTube videos when I get some isotunes. Maybe. I've thought about it before. I don't really like headphones because of the wire and stuff, but I guess the isotunes are wireless, or they have some wireless ones. I've not used any sort of wireless headphones, so I don't know how they would work out. The thing that probably the thing that I'm thinking of that where I wouldn't want to use those, if I'm still working on a video, I'm trying to focus on the video and what I'm doing in the video and cameras and stuff like that. I just don't know if that would be distracting. I don't know. I haven't tried it. It might work. Even when I'm editing videos and stuff like that, I have regular studio headphones. I don't even like wearing those. The sound is really good, but I don't know. It's weird. About the only time I really do use headphones, well, I haven't in a while since we haven't played any band gigs. I have in-ear monitors, which are basically little earbud kind of things, but those I like. But in the shop, I don't know. I guess I'd have to try it. That was a long answer for that. Neptunes, LOL, Paul. Patty says, yeah, 70, 80 mile an hour winds, big downpours, flash floods. Today it's cold and blue skies. Wow. 70, 80 mile an hour. That's no joke right there. Man, well, I'm glad you guys are okay. The can's bugging me in the background. Well, are you guys all ready for the holidays? We talked about this a little bit last week in the live stream. Holiday projects. Like I said, I'm working on this little board here. These are a great holiday project. The little router bowls that I'm going to be making. What do you guys build? If you do, do you have any tricks up your sleeve for good handmade gift ideas? Leave them down here. It's always fun to go through that. We talked, like I said, we talked about them last week, and it was kind of a fun topic to roll over and just see what everybody has had success with things that they make. Epperson says, only time I wear headphones is when I'm on my Xbox. Other than that, crank those speakers up. Yeah, that's kind of the way I am. I don't know what it is. Maybe I haven't found a good pair of headphones that I really enjoy wearing. But yeah, I'd rather turn it up. Now, at work, I use one Bluetooth earbud to have background music or podcast or something. Yeah, just for some, I could see that. Maybe have one in. Even when I was at work, the corporate deal. If I was fortunate enough to have a bit of a desk area and not necessarily an office, but I had a desk and everything. But I had speakers, and I didn't wear headphones. Of course, we weren't really allowed to wear headphones anyway, but I just liked having speakers, even if I couldn't crank it. Paul says, made some pens, salt and pepper grinders, and some one-hit pots. Yes, Paul, we talked about those last week. You were in the stream over on the old FB. Brian says, I have to jump off and make dinner. Take care, everyone. See you next time. Right on, Brian. What are we having for dinner, and what time should we all arrive? I'm kidding, man. Thanks for tuning in real quick. Glad you were able to drop in. Hope you're doing awesome, and have a good dinner. Mike says, I recently saw a YouTube video that creates snowflakes by table saw. I may try that for gifts if I have some time. Yes, that is a video. Well, there might be more than one, but the one that I have seen a couple years ago, I think, was Steve Ramsey at Woodworking for Mere Mortals. He had a video on making some of those, and those are pretty cool, I think. Ever since I saw that video, I intended to try that at some point. Haven't got around to it yet, but yeah, I know exactly what one you're talking about, and those look like a really fun project. And just a little bit of background, if you guys haven't seen the video, it's been a while since I've seen it, but it involves making a bunch of strips with different angles and stuff, and then you glue them all together so you have kind of a tube almost of snowflake shapes. Like if you took a snowflake and extruded it out into a tube, and then you just start slicing them off, and it's pretty neat, really. If you guys get a chance, you're looking for something to watch, search that up. It's Woodworking for Mere Mortals. I don't know what it's called or anything off the top of my head, but definitely a cool idea. Mike says that's the one. Yeah, I have seen it. It actually popped up recently in my recommendations too. Paul says, I'll be modifying my small shop next weekend, building an external addition to it to move my dust collection outside, freeing up about 20 square foot. Nice. That's a good chunk. That'll be cool. Yeah, I kind of wish I had like a lean-to roof or something to put stuff, or just another little section. Maybe even like another shed. Although I'm basically in a shed right now, but. Another shed for storing materials, wood and stuff like that. That would free up a fair bit of space for me. I mean, not a lot, but... Patty says, I'm listening in with earbuds inside my chainsaw helmet while using the splitter. Never when operating a chainsaw. I have a bench seat to make for the mother-in-law and some smaller wood projects. Cool. Speaking of chainsaw, I've been running mine. Well, not the last couple days, but... up until over the weekend or so, did a little chainsaw milling. If you follow along on Instagram or even Facebook, you saw I got that huge giant log, and did a little milling on that guy. I think that log is silver maple, and I got a little fun video coming out this weekend, just working on that a little bit, and yeah, I got some chainsaw sharpening to do. Because inside that log, that was, I'm guessing, some old farm log or something like that, I hit a nail. The first time I've ever hit a nail with the rip chain on the chainsaw mill, so some of the teeth are really dulled up from that. But that'll be coming out this weekend. Paul says Steve did a new video about a week or two ago on that. Maybe that's why it popped up in my recommendation. I didn't look at when it came out. I just somehow thought it was the old video. I'll have to go back and watch that. Thanks for pointing that out, Paul. I'll check that out. Dan's here. Dan says, hey, what's up? What are your 2022 resolutions? That's a good question. I'm not one to typically set resolutions. Although if you guys have resolutions, go ahead and leave them down there. But I don't get too wrapped up in that thing. I think the idea is kind of good, but a lot of people don't. I mean, probably most of us really don't. I don't know. It seems like those always get forgotten about. Not everybody. I'm not saying everybody does, but I don't know. I just never got into the resolution thing. I try to do more goals, I guess. I guess it's not much different, really. Just goals for 2022 and stuff like that. For me, some things that I could think of would be, to be able to continue doing, to continue putting out videos weekly as much as possible. To build more guitars, do more lumber milling, basically the stuff I'm already trying to do. I just want to do it better. I want to be able to make, I don't know. I think that would be it. Continue doing cool projects, hanging out with you guys, and I do want to do more reclaimed. I want to try to reclaim more materials from maybe old buildings, old barns, stuff like that. I've mentioned about that before. That I really, I do feel, I find that I feel really quite strongly about that stuff, and I want to try to do more of that. And just continue to learn and continue to grow and continue to get better and I don't know how to explain that, I guess, but I think that about covers it. Paul says, neighbor cut down a huge oak tree about 2 weeks ago, and I got several big chunks and a huge burl. Ooh, nice. Gonna dry most of it, but gonna cut a piece to do some green turning. Cool. Dan says, excellent. Dan, what are yours? What are your resolutions or goals or I don't know. Yeah. Paul says, I built a solar kiln about 2 years ago, and it works great, even in winter. It's something I want to build too. When I have more space to do that. I'm getting a fair bit of material here. Right now I just have been air drying things, and this is a piece of air dried elm that I sliced up myself. I've got a few slabs of this left. I've got a bunch of silver maple from a big log that I sawed up this spring. That's probably about dry. And now I've got this large, what I think is silver maple, but it's highly figured. I've never seen silver maple like this, so it's going to be cool. But a solar kiln would be really cool. Dan says, what about working on that pedal board we talk on Instagram? Oh, yes, I was thinking about pedal boards a couple days ago. I need to make one. It's on the list, for sure. I have a list I keep a list of projects. As soon as I think of something that would be cool to make, I just plug it into the list. I actually have a, you guys use Trello? Like that scheduling project. I guess it is an app. But I use Trello and Google Calendars. And, so I use Google Calendars to keep track of all of, videos when I'm putting them out, when I'm working on next. But I use Trello for a lot of my project ideas. So I've got a giant list, and then as I start them, I can move them across, to different, whether the project is in, kind of the pre-planning to where I need to order supplies or anything like that. Then I have like maybe 4 or 5 different columns. So if it's in process, if it's done but I need to edit it, if it's in editing, and if it's finally scheduled. And my list on the of projects is giant, and it's just ideas. Some of the stuff I may never get to, but I think it's great to just at least I have that written down. So once in a while, if I don't have a project in mind, I'll go and scroll through that giant list, and a lot of times I'll find something. Oh yeah, I've got the material for this thing, or whatever. So I'll knock that out. But a lot of times I don't even get to that list because, as you guys know, projects seem to just come out of the woodwork. See what I did there? And I don't even have to go to that list to be loaded up with projects. But occasionally, I'm kind of looking for a new idea, so I'll use that. But pedalboard, that was a long explanation. Pedalboard is on that list, and it's probably higher than a lot of the other projects. Mike says, need to go. Mike, have a good one, man. Thanks for stopping in. Glad you're able to stop by for a little while. Dan says Trello is the best. It's pretty cool. I have a whole bunch of boards on there. Most of them I don't use too much, but the main one I use for planning projects, where they are in the process. That way I can always keep track of things. But again, that's if I get to that point. I've got so many other ones that just pop up, and yeah. Dan says, good way to organize ideas. It does. It helps a lot. It really does. And I suppose, I don't really share them with anybody. But if I had, maybe some different people that I needed to share the calendar and stuff with, I believe Trello has some abilities in there of some sort that you can share them with teams, although I'm not super familiar with how that works. But it sounds like it could be pretty cool, if I had eventually down the road, if I had, maybe I don't know, a video editor or something like that where we could collaborate and make sure we're all on track. So if you guys haven't checked it out, and not sponsored or anything by them, but Trello is kind of a cool little system for organizing stuff. Chaos is here. Chaos says, "What's up? What's up, man? What's going on? What's going on in the chaos world?" Dan says, kind of a big virtual pasteboard with Post-it. Yes, that good explanation. That's exactly what it is. And you just take one of the notes and you move it to the next thing. Yeah. Yeah, good explanation of that, Dan. That's exactly what it's like. Instead of writing it down on sticky notes all over, you just type it in and then you can just move it to whatever stage. Yeah, but don't worry, Dan. We will build a pedal board at some point, because I have a lot of pedals. I do. I don't use them too much as of lately, but I do have a lot. And most of them right now are on. I have 2 separate pedal boards for 2 different rigs, basically. Actually, almost 3. There's quite a few, and I could use some organization. Neptune says, "Hey, Chaos." Chaos. Hey, Neptune. Chaos, what are you up to today? You're working hard? I'm really thirsty this morning. I'm not sure why that is. Maybe because it's kind of cold and kind of dry. And yeah. Dan says, can't get enough pedals. I agree. There was about, let's see, speaking of pedals, I used to have a spare dresser, just an old dresser that was full. All the drawers were full of different pedals. And probably about 6 or 8 years ago, I wanted to get a bunch of different pedals to create a different board. So I sold quite a few, not all of them at all, but a lot of the ones that I didn't think I would ever use, or that I really didn't like. So I sold a bunch of them, eBay, and there's a couple that I sold that I wish I didn't. But yeah, isn't that always the case? Not that I would need them still, because I kept the ones that I like. But if you're a guitar player and you use pedals, you probably understand the obsession. It's kind of like having guitars. There's always one that you don't have that you need, right? Like, at least that's the way I am. I'm like, oh, well, I don't have one that's, natural cherry wood. So I gotta have one. Chaos says, daughter's school closed again, so I'm working from home this week. Man, not again. It's kind of a rough go with that there. Paul says, I just milled a piece of cocobolo that was 10 foot by 2 foot by 8 inch thick that my neighbor traded me for some work. Holy cow. He's had it for almost 20 years. Lots of guitar sets. Wow, that's crazy. That's kind of the size that I'm thinking of for this. Again, what I think is silver maple, this figured log that I have right now. I'm like at a war with myself, trying to decide how I want to mill these so that I can use them for guitar parts, bodies, and necks, as well as have some material for some other stuff. So I'm kind of torn as to how thick that I want to mill them, like in the actual billets. I want to be able to book match, but I've also been thinking about doing some one-piece bodies. So I've cut the first one at about 1.25 inches, so then I can flatten and make neck blanks out of. And I cut another slab 5 inches thick because I'm thinking that I could probably get some book match sets out of, but I'm thinking I need to go maybe thicker. Maybe like you said, 8 inches. I'm not sure. I feel like part of me always thinks that I'm going to make a mistake and I'm not going to be able to use it. I mean, that's not going to be the case, really, if you think about it. But the other problem I just ran into was that I maxed out my mill. I have a 42-inch bar on my chainsaw, and the mill is wide enough, but the bar is not quite big enough. And I don't think I can put a bigger bar on my saw and have it run it well. So, I don't know. What do you think is a good thickness for slabbing a piece of wood to be able to use for guitar parts? Book match tops or solid book match bodies. I don't know. Patty says, I like the idea of a solar kiln project. I'm in. I may need a digital organizer in my work life. Well, there you go. Digital organizer. Check out Trello. Like I said, not sponsored, but it is kind of a cool way to be able to organize things. And a solar kiln. I think we all need a solar kiln. You got some material to mill up too, don't you? Giovanni's here. Giovanni says, good evening, young man. Good evening, Giovanni. It's not good evening here, but I know it's evening there, so good evening. I almost said good morning. Paul says, I do 2-inch on bodies and 1/2 inch on tops. Yeah, that's tops. When I usually do a top, well, yeah, 1/2 inch. Then you take it down to 1/4, and I got you. The thing that I'm trying to understand or figure out, I guess, is a better way to put it, is on this log. It's I'm not sure how to even say that, honestly. I want to have options. So I'm thinking if I cut it nice and thick, then I can make a billet, that's maybe 4-inch thick. Maybe I should do 4-inch. Maybe I should just slice it into 4 inches. Then I can resaw it to do book match bodies, book match tops, whatever. Maybe 4 inches would be the way to go. I'm just brainstorming out loud with you guys. Kaya says, build a solar-powered practice amp. That'd be cool. Kaya says that might require too much power though. Well, you just get more solar panels. I don't see why you couldn't do that. I don't wonder how much you'd need to run an amp off of solar. without a battery. That'd be kind of neat. I have been looking at amplifier kits because I don't know. There's something kind of sounds kind of fun about building an amp. Again, like I said, I've always got my list going, and on that list is, one of those amp kits or something. There's no way I could do one from scratch. I do not have that kind of knowledge for, like amplifiers and electronics and that sort of stuff. But a kit would be kind of cool. Okay, says, I was thinking like one you could take camping, but not sure that would work. I don't see why it wouldn't work. Honestly, I think it would. Paul says, I have 17 kilowatt system with 2 Tesla backups. Plenty of power. Yeah, see? Solar powered practice amp. Even it's like a little 1 or 2 watt tube amp or something. Yeah, it could be done. Oh, hang on. I got a new something here that I've been playing around with. Hang on. I got a new camera, a little GoPro guy. Kind of cool. So you may be seeing some different angles in some of the videos. I've still been playing around with this thing, trying to figure out the best way to work it into my workflow. And but so far I'm kind of liking it. I'm still waiting on a couple different mounts and things, because if you guys ever use a GoPro with the microphone up here, this gets in your shot. So I'm raising it. I got a thing to raise it up, some other stuff. But yeah, so be on the lookout when you see some different angles and stuff like that. You'll know it's me playing around with this thing. Paul says, Harbor Freight sells a 100-watt setup that should power an amp. I have looked at that. I think it would. Cass says, oh nice, it showed up. Yeah, it did. And so far I dig it. I've been using it a little bit here and there. And like I said, just trying to figure out how I'm going to work it into the workflow, trying to figure out what... If you guys have ever looked at accessories and things for a GoPro, there's so many different makers and different mounts and things. It's hard to determine which one you really need. So I've got a bunch of those. Well, not a bunch, but I have several of those on the way. Some magnetic things so I can mount it at weird angles, and I think it's gonna be kind of fun. Hopefully, we can increase the quality maybe of the videos with some of the angles. So, and maybe we'll do some sort of handheld vloggy stuff too. I don't know. Paul says the Tribble is trying to eat your GoPro. Yeah. Yep. This little windscreen thing, the little dead cat guy here. I use it all the time on my other camera, whether I'm inside or outside. I don't like to take it on and off, and I'll probably do the same thing with this. I probably don't need it if I'm inside, but I don't want to take it off. Not that it's hard or anything, but I just like to leave it on. And you can see that there's the lens right there, and these little fuzzies go in there. I don't know why I don't know. I guess you can't design it based on every single application, but yeah. So be on the lookout. Neptune says, sweet. Dan says, do you think it's a good idea to make pine guitar body with a maple top? Sure, go for it. I don't see why not. As long as the wood is dry, both the top and the pine for the body, I don't see any reason not to. It's not maybe a conventional style, but I've made pine bodies before. I don't see why you couldn't, really. Like I said, as long as it's dry, it's stable, your glue up is good, do it. Neptune says, what model is that? Looks like a 9. This is the new 10. This is the Hero 10. Basically the same as the 9. A couple little tweaks, but it's the 10. Kea says, my small Rode mic like that one, has separated from the mount. So I need to rig it up with tape or something. Oh, like the little thing here? It came off of the base? Interesting. The only thing so far that I've noticed with this mic is it's really floppy. I actually put some zip ties here to kind of take some of the flop out. Like it was really, it's almost too bendy, technical term. So I just lightly put some zip ties on there to kind of take some of the flop out of it. I don't think it'll be, it's not going to be a big deal once I get the little riser thingy to lift this up. But I wished almost that it wasn't quite so floppy. I may 3D print a couple of pieces to go up here to kind of take some of that flop out of there as well. Not sure. But that is so far the only thing that I'm not super impressed with was how floppy it is. What kind of screw is that? Kay said the screw fell out. I think if you zip tie it, there's not going to be anything to zip tie it to. I'll bet you could just find a screw, like go to the hardware store or something and find a little screw to put that back in there. Let's see. Dan says pine is so cheap. Thanks. Yeah, I mean, go do it, man. I've got some pine around too that I could probably do some more bodies with. But pine, some people really shy away from that. I love pine. The pine, I like the resonance. I like the sound. And I don't see any reason not to do it. In fact, one of the guitars that I've been playing on recently has a pine body, but I actually did a pine top on it as well, and I just love the way the body is so resonant. Patty says, yes, hopefully going to get that milled at the weekend on a friend's wood miser. Ooh. Could you explain matchbox style guitar tops to, oh, okay, so book match. Do I have one around here? So, man, I've got some around. Where are they? I could show you an example. I don't have anything close by. But anyway, so I'm sure you've seen maybe guitar that has maybe a mahogany body with a maple cap on there. Well, one of the common practices, makes it sound bad, but is you'll take a board that's maybe half the width of the guitar. Let's say a maple board. And you'll saw it down the middle, on your bandsaw this way, and then you will take that board and you'll open it like a book. Hence the name book match, I guess. And what that does is, if you're using like a figured piece of wood, flame maple or quilted maple or something like that, even regular maple really, the grain is going to be, since you're cutting it down the middle, and then you open it up, and then that's how you're gonna glue it together. The grain is gonna be a mirror image, basically, across the whole piece. So you'll buy maybe a 7-inch wide board, split it open, and then machine it that way. You have to mark it, make sure you don't mix your directions up and things. But when you glue it together, the flame that you have in this side of the board is going to be matched on this side of the board, and that's what you see really on almost all of almost any guitar with a figured top is going to be a book match of some sort. Not every one, but the majority of them, I would say, and are going to have a book match top. You don't need anywhere near as wide a piece of wood because it's not a one piece, but you can buy a narrower piece of wood, split it open, machine it up, and glue it that way, and your grain is going to be book matched across the top. If there's exaggerated, if there's a knot on this side, when you split it open, you're going to, in theory, have the knot on both sides, or whatever figure, it's just going to be mirrored. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, it's called book match. Then your grain is matched in basically a mirror image across the whole instrument. Does that make sense, Patty? I hope. I know I've got a couple sets around here to demonstrate, but Paul says this should work just fine on the pine maple body. I build pine bodies all the time. Yeah, that's my thought too. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't work. Like I said, I've done a pine body with a pine top, but it would be no different if you wanted to apply a maple to the top. So what if it's hardwood, softwood? As long as you get it, the surfaces machined nice and smooth, just like you would with any other glue up, gluing the top on there, it should be fine. Neptune says, nice. I thought about getting the 9 before the 10 came out, but ended up getting the 8. I almost got the 9 instead of the 10 because the 9 was a little bit cheaper now that the 10's out. And but I decided, you know what? If I'm just gonna get this thing, I'm just gonna get the new one. Dan says there's a cheap small extension arm for the camera. I've got a. Do I have that one? For the top, are you talking about? Because this has the cold shoe mount. This is the media mod for it, and I need it to be higher. And I've got a little cold shoe deal coming, to where you put the cold shoe thing in there, and then on top it's got the screw mount on it, so it'll be able to raise that up off of there. But there's so many arms and extensions and mounts, and it's hard to tell what you're going to want. Cass says, yeah, like the screw fell out. I might need to zip. Oh. I guess I missed that a second ago. Paul says, if you're worried, watch the grain direction on the pine to keep it from cupping, but maple should help. Just use a bit thicker top for stabilization. Yeah, maybe 5/16 or something like that for your top, a little bit thicker. 1/4 inch probably would be enough. I wouldn't go any thinner than 1/4 inch, personally. Cass says, if you take it off, look underneath, you can see a small screw that holds it to the mount, and I think that's what fell out. Yeah, you can see the screw. Mine's covered with a zip tie, but there's a little screw in there. I'll bet if you took this mount to the hardware store, or I probably have one here, one that would fit. Or we could just cut one down if it's too long. Probably do. Paul says, I sell around 7 pine bodies per week on eBay. Top seller. Nice, dude. Dan says, by design, the microphone's wobbly so the mic doesn't record vibrations. Right. I totally get the shock mount deal. I think my other one has basically the same shock mount, but it has this at the front, and then there's 2. So you don't quite get, you still get the shock mount, but it doesn't flop. Like I know what that mount's supposed to do. Sure, I don't know. I don't think it's going to matter here once I space it up. Patty says, gotcha. Great explanation. Thanks. That's why we like coming here, Jeff. Thanks, man. I try. And I enjoy answering questions. Dan says, yep, exactly. I'll send you a link. Yes, I'll keep an eye out. I appreciate any and all suggestions for links for products and stuff like that you guys have found good success with. KS says, question for you. Have you ever had an MRE? No, I have not, actually. I don't think, no, I have never tried one. I do like your MRE videos that you were doing. So I posted the other day over on Instagram where I'd ordered some finish for the bass guitar, and I was talking about how, if you guys saw that, my finish that I had to order some more finish for the bass because remember I told you about the bubbles and I had to sand a lot of it off and respray it. I didn't have enough clear, so I had to order some more. Man, I got that the other day, and I don't know what the shipping company, we will keep that anonymous, do not know what happened, but it was all spilled inside the package. So I'm still waiting, in case you're curious, on the bass guitar for some finish because I need to spray a few more coats of clear before I can move on to the assembly. And it's cutting it really close with getting this done by the end of the year, but it's still my goal. I'm still going to shoot for it. Right now the bass is kind of just on the shelf and hanging up to dry, even though I got to spray it some more. So I'm kind of a little bit disappointed that happened. There was about that much left in the bottom of the can, so I think I probably could start spraying some coats with what's there while I'm waiting for the replacement. But have you guys ever had a shipping company like destroy a project or a product? I'm not trying to bash anybody, so don't throw any names out there, but man, it was horrible. I opened up the package and it was like in plastic bags and in other wrappers, and it was just a mess. It was kind of bad. Thankfully, the product that I'm using, I have no problem mentioning. I don't want to trash the shipping companies because I know everybody's slammed and all that sort of stuff. I'm using Bright Tone from Crystalac, and Crystalac was awesome at resolving the issue, getting some more shipped out to me, and yeah, so I got to give them a huge shout out. Not sponsored or anything, but man, their customer service was spot on with helping me get that resolved. So good job, guys. Chaos says, ooh, I might have to link up with you. I want to do a video with people trying one for the first time. I'll do it. I'm down. You're going to give me like the grossest one? Paul says, it's okay to keep the anonymous, but FedEx dropped my Laguna lathe last year and broke the tailstock quilt. Ow, man. Yeah. Yeah, the only reason that I was saying that is, I know several people that are delivery drivers, including, just your regular mail carriers, and those guys are so slammed with work. I feel that the number of damaged products is so low, really, in the whole. What am I trying to say? They deliver so many products. Why do I keep saying projects? I think the number that's actually damaged is super low. It's just that those are the only things that any of us ever talk about. And I'm not mad at those guys at all. And, I think they do a great job. So many of us order things online now, and we rely on our delivery people. And overall, the number of damaged products, the damaged items that I have received are nothing, barely, compared to the stuff that I get delivered successfully. So I try to cut those guys some slack because I know, numbers-wise, it's got to be such a small percentage. And, hopefully we can all, just give them a break. These guys are doing their job delivering the stuff that we ordered. And if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't get anything, right? So I try to just give them a little grace, and you know what? So what? So a thing get damaged. Company's going to take care of it. It's resolved. So be it. Yes, it's very frustrating, especially if it's more of an expensive item, like a lathe or a guitar, right? Totally more frustrating, but I've not had anything super expensive damaged. I do have a guitar I need to ship, though, very soon. So it's up to us to package it, hopefully, to withstand a nuclear attack. Okay. That being said, let's move on. Neptune says, we've had several, my area declared a disaster area several times over the years, and they bring MREs all the time. Lately, they have been bringing the low sodium. All the extras are identical. They suck. Paul says, don't eat the dehydrated beef pork patty MRE. Will take a ton of water to make them edible. Neptune says, whoops, first part doesn't make sense. I was kind of lost there too. I thought maybe I missed something, but it's so good. Chaos says, I have a box of MREs, so I'll let you pick. I'm just going to do like the blindfold test. I'm down, man. If you want to do it, that'd be kind of fun. I'm in. Let me know. So you guys, wait, is that a channel video, Chaos? Man, I'm thirsty. So if that's a channel video for Chaos, his YouTube channel. If you guys don't know, Chaos has a YouTube channel. Go over there, subscribe. If you want to see me eat a weird MRE, make sure you're subscribed to his channel. And if it's not a channel video, sorry, Chaos, but I'm down. Chaos says, yeah, it would be on the channel. Civilians try MREs the first time. Yep, that would be me. Yeah, so everybody, go subscribe, and then you can see me eat an MRE at some point. That'd be fun. Neptune says, Jeff, it's the low sodium decline fast. Huh? I don't know what that is. Low sodium decline fast. For the MREs, is that what you're talking about? Oh boy. Oh, it's the low sodium MRE. Gotcha. Cass says you would not need to eat the whole thing. Just try using it and taste test. No, you gotta like make them eat the whole thing. Whoever's doing it. You have to finish, at least like the main portion. You got to eat it all. I mean, I guess unless it's horrible. Yep, I'm in. I'll do it. Oh, that's fun. Let's see, what else, guys? I think that's about where we're at here. Like I said, working on this board. I got the video on the log coming out. Yeah. Oh, I don't have anything nearby to show you guys. Slacking. I did get. Have you guys seen those little diesel heaters? That a lot of people use them in, like, I don't know, tiny homes or camper van conversions. A family member of mine sent me one of those that came out of a salvage truck, and I think it's going to be kind of cool to set up somewhere in here. I still got some hashing out of ideas to do yet, but have you guys ever used any of those? Like those, I guess it's also called a parking heater that they put in like the semis, you know, so they don't have to idle the engine at night when it's cold. They run this little diesel heater that also, well, runs off diesel. So I've got one of those now that I need to get installed in here. So I think that might be kind of cool as an alternative heat method. It kind of runs off a thermostat, a little diesel fuel tank, and yeah, I have zero experience in there, and this one's not quite as easy as, you know, some of the ones you can get off eBay or whatever, because it is taken out of a wrecked truck, and so the wires are, you know, snipped, and I got to follow the diagram. But I think that's going to be pretty fun to get set up, and there's a few things I need to work out, but If you got any of you guys ever used one of those, have any experience with them, I would love to hear your thoughts on those. Neptune says, no, I'm just messing. They aren't bad unless you eat them day after day. Well, I could see that. Well, look who's here. Harry Dude's here. Says, what's up? I think I made it in just in time. Just got home from working on site. Well, welcome. You made it just at the last minute. But now you're here, so see ya. No, I'm kidding. What's going on, man? From working on site? Oh, you had an outside sort of project or something? That's pretty cool. Patty says, Crescent Moon rising with Venus in ascendance. Time to load up and head home. Right on. Well, Patty, you have an amazing rest of your week and a good evening. Neptune says, hey, Harry Dude. You know, something that I forgot to, I meant to post it over the weekend. Do you guys remember those spur straps that I made for my daughter a month or so ago? She had her second show this past weekend and did really well again. So she's on a roll. She's doing really good. And those spur straps are holding up just fine. That's another project that I got coming up, some leather working stuff. But I need to build one of those stitching ponies. That's it. So I got one of those on the list as well. I got to move that on my Trello board. Harry Dude says, pre-pandemic client I used to work on site for a lot. Back doing the odd project for them now and then. Cool. Right on. That's good. I'm glad you're got things rolling. Neptune says, all right, fantastic for Haley. Yeah, she's doing awesome. She got a, she had way more people in her class this time. She had 9 other people. And she got a first, a second, and a fourth place on all of those. And she had the high point for the day. So far she's at the top of the class for winning. But she's only 2 shows in. She's got 4 more to go. Well, technically, I guess they only take the top 4 scores, weather permitting, if we make all of them. But so far, she's doing great for her first time. I'm super happy, super proud of her. She's doing a really good job. Just a little side note, Neptunes. I know you were following along with that the last time, but I meant to post some of that over the weekend because that's where we spent our Saturday, was over at the horse show. So yeah, that's just kind of an update in case anybody's interested. So in case you do see an occasional post like that, you'll know why. Harry Dude says, to Neptunes, hello, hope you're well. Patty says, catch you guys later, ciao. Ciao, Patty. Have a good evening. Have a great week. We'll catch you next time. Neptune says, she's doing good, yeah. Cass says, I want to see a project made of only wood, like way back when, and it did not have nails. So it's all held together with wood nails, like dowels. Have I done one like that? Can I use glue or no glue? Because they did have glue. It was just a little bit different glue. I don't typically use nails on most of my projects. Dan says, you should make a poll for your next project. Thought about that. That's a good idea. I might throw that up there. Neptune says, oh, I forgot to mention, my daughter's school had a threat the other day, but they got the guy before anything bad happened. Homeland was involved in the investigation. Good grief. See, that's... Why, people? Not you guys, but it's... Stuff like that just really makes me mad. It really does. Because, come on, what do kids have to do with any of this stuff? Leave the schools alone. Yeah, I'm glad everything's okay. I'll check that. I'll check that link. Cass says maybe it has to be in the fashion of way back when, so you have to use things that were around back then. I could get on board with that idea. Yeah, totally could. What would we make? What would be cool to make? Obviously, you know, I don't have a lot of space, so I can't like build a big giant, you know, anything large, a big dress chest of drawers or something like that. But what would be a good something from back in the day? Yeah, says arc. Yeah, where am I going to build that? It's going to be like this big. Neptune says, "Yep, turned out well." Yeah, thank God. Yep. Dan says, hand tools, I'm guessing that's supposed to say. Hand tools from back then. That would be kind of fun, using just a hand tool project. Using some those. Hand planes and hand saws. That's something I don't really have. I don't really have, like, any hand saws. I mean, I have, like, a cheap, you know, hardware store kind of saw, but I don't have, like, a you know, like a Distin or, you know, anything from way back when. I don't have any old saws. I do have, you know, a bit and brace, chisels. I don't have any old chisels, but I do have chisels. Yeah, well, I think we could do something with that. I just don't know exactly what that would be. Yeah. Anyway, you guys got any last minute questions, comments, suggestions? Before we wrap this up, we are at a little over the hour mark. Harry Dude says, go for Japanese saw. So good. Oh, good call, Harry Dude, because I've kind of been thinking about one of those. I have a little flush trim saw. It's okay. But I've been thinking about getting a Japanese saw. So, Japanese saw recommendations. Leave them right here, or wherever it is on your screen. For me, it's right here, but right there. Okay, it says pick a time frame and only use what would have been around then. Maybe build something they had to build then. History lesson and building video in one. That's a good idea. Cass always has good ideas. Paul says Rex Kruger does some great hand tool videos. I've seen some of his. Build a guitar with hand tools. That's how they used to do the acoustics and stuff back then. That would be hard for me. I'm not saying that we couldn't do it, but yeah, it would be a challenge for sure. Alrighty. Anyway, guys, I think it's about time to wrap this up. I got to get this oiled up again and get to editing the video on this guy. So be on the lookout this weekend. Just kind of a fun video where I'm playing with chainsaws and milling a little bit of logs and hitting nails and dulling the chains, and yeah, check it out. It's gonna be out Saturday. That's the plan, and this one will hopefully be out a week from now or next Saturday. So that's the plan there. Neptune says everyone have a great week. Until next time. Later. Bam. Right on, Neptunes. Paul says, saw a video where a guy went into the woods and built a guitar with what he found on site. Paul, Burl Craft Guitars. Is that the guy that makes them all out of like the weird, like the Cheerios and the 9 bazillion colored pencils? Is that the guy? Now Paul says, have a great weekend. Harry Dude says, cheers folks, hope to be here a little earlier next week. Cass says a wheelbarrow. Hey, you make a wheelbarrow. Yeah. Oh, Paul says, yeah. I've seen some of his. Right on, guys. Well, thank you for joining in, taking a little bit of time out of your day, whether it's morning or evening or in the middle of the night. Thanks for stopping by. Really appreciate it, guys. Get out there, get some stuff made in your shops. I encourage you. It's the time of year. Go build some gifts and projects and stuff like that. You guys have an awesome time. Thanks again, and have an awesome week, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for stopping by, guys. Appreciate you. I'm trying to hit the button, and yeah. See, look, there's even outtakes in a live stream. I hit the button, and it didn't.